No, unfortunately, it's a two-part strategy, Alex. They have, access to the airwaves, access to the internet, and they spin their lies in an outrageous campaign of propaganda and distortion. At the same time, they're trying to silence us. They want to take InfoWars off the internet. They want to take us off the social media platforms. It's not just us. It's hundreds of thousands of individual, if not millions, individual conservatives, libertarians, Trump supporters. And let there be no mistake about it. If they take me down, if they take you down, if they take InfoWars down, Tucker Carlson's right behind us. So is Sean Hannity. They're already trying to take Mike Savage down. Rush Limbaugh, Laura Ingraham, all the people I love, all the people who are telling the truth, they're all targeted. So they have a better chance of spinning their lies if they can silence us. So it's a two-part strategy, and it's insidious. They really want to grab control of the political narrative, which they lost control of in 2016.
Okay, Roger Stone is only popping in for one segment because I saw it in the New York Times yesterday, and most of the time the New York Times is, lying or spinning or twisting, especially when it has to do with America or Trump or the Second Amendment or Christians or anything else that's good. But they were saying that Roger Stone, according to insiders, was the creator of the idea of a wall. And so I called Roger this morning and I said, is that true? And he said, well, yes, but let me be specific and clarify. And it's not about who gets the credit. The media is trying to spin it as a good rhetoric point, but a bad idea. I now more than ever think it's a great idea because it's a symbol of national sovereignty. It's a make-work project. But also it will save a lot of lives. And the U.S. has built walls around Iraq. We've put up fences in Afghanistan. And the idea that the Democrats are demonizing the idea that we even have borders and that they say that it's evil if we even have a barrier is just ridiculous. So it's a symbol. And he has shut the government down. He said he wouldn't back down. He hasn't. They try to spin it and say, well, the Democrats may agree to a metal barrier. If you've got 30-foot metal slats that are bars, it's a wall. A cell wall is a membrane. It's not stone or concrete or metal. A wall can be anything. It's the Chinese great firewall of censorship. If it blocks people, if it's physical, I think steel is better than even concrete. And the designers have said it is the best design to not be scalable and to not have people get through it. But they spin it like he's not keeping his promise. All Trump's done is kept his promises. Now especially trying to pull out of Iraq and other areas and being blocked by out-of-control Pentagon individuals. He promised to get prison reform through. He did that. I mean, I'm not going to go through all the accomplishments, getting out of the TPP, getting thousands of factories to come back. But so we can talk to the admitted progenitor, the coiner of the wall, Roger Stone. Talk about an influential guy, Trump's chief advisor up until the middle of the campaign, hounded by Robert Mueller. Also was asking him, is it true that Mueller's going through his garbage as well? Somebody's been going through ours. I know at my house and here at the office. So Roger, getting your take on this wall situation and the inside baseball on that as the man who had the idea to do it, I think you're uniquely set to be able to talk about it.
Well, first, Alex, I appreciate the opportunity because it's Donald Trump who identified unfettered immigration as a burning issue for this country. It's Donald Trump who came up with the idea of a barrier on our southern border. All I did was suggest the rhetorical flourish of calling it the wall, and then he road tested it out on the road in rallies and in mass crowd events, and it was a hit, and therefore he continued to use it. But as I've said many times here on InfoWars, nobody tells Donald Trump what to say or what to do. He is certainly open to political advice. He'll listen, but he makes his own decisions. And he identified immigration, and he's the one who inserted it in his announcement speech after he came down on the escalator, for which, of course, the national press excoriated him. But look at the New York Times headline. Roger Stone invented wall as a way to remind Donald Trump to bash immigrants. We're not bashing immigrants. We want to stop the flow of 90% of the heroin and fentanyl into our country.
Well, let's be clear. First, they demonize you and lie about you, and they take something true that he wanted a barrier. You should call it a wall. You know, it's stronger. You're a builder. The iconography is more powerful, which is true. He tested. It works well. Plus, it's what he already believed. It's what he's been saying for decades. It's what any sovereign country has. And then they spin it like he was so addled and couldn't pay attention and had no memory that you developed this to manipulate his narcissism. Total made-up crap. That part's not true.
Yeah, nobody manipulates Donald Trump. And I was frankly surprised that he made immigration the centerpiece of his announcement speech, and it had the desired effect. And the wall, as you know, came somewhat after that. But look, he's hanging tough, and it's driving the Democrats insane. I agree with you. A metal barrier, you know, razor-type spikes at the top is a wall. Any way you want to slice it, may be less expensive than concrete. We had a great show in the world the other day. You could make this out of hemp-generated concrete even less expensively. But the key thing is that he's not going to fold in the face of extraordinary establishment pressure. There was a major piece in yesterday's New York Times, the People versus Donald Trump, making the case for impeachment, and it was pure Alinsky. Everything they accused Donald Trump of, every single thing, is exactly what they have done, what Mueller and the Clintons and the Bushes and the deep state have done. It was Kafkaesque. It was like Alice in Wonderland. It was so out of touch with reality.
Roger, pulling back from this and just the hypocrisy, here's an example. Golden Globes winner decries the wall while surrounded by a wall of barricades and security. Dogs, federal police, state police, local police, border patrol, they brought them all in to guard the Hollywood turds who live behind 10-foot, 20-foot walls around their neighborhoods, then 10-foot walls around their houses, sometimes 20-foot walls. I know Quentin Tarantino's house because I knew somebody that lived next door to him. It had, Roger, 25-foot walls with spikes on it all the way around the house in the middle of the Hollywood Hills next to $10 million houses. His house was over $10 million. But this latest guy, this is on Infowars.com, folks. Get this out to everybody. Golden Globes winner Brad Simpson described the wall as hateful last night while surrounded by a wall of barricades, security, and armed police officers. So they were behind a 10-foot spiked wall and hundreds of police. He said, they tell us that we should be scared of people that are different from us. They tell us that we should have walls around ourselves, he said, adding, those forces of hate and fear are still with us. This is literally the globalists trying to collapse our country, Roger. This is crazy. And we have another AP reporter, I'm sure you saw this last week, on national television, on Meet the Press, and MSNBC say there is no caravan and that it's made up by white supremacists.
Yeah, the whole thing is extraordinarily phony. Let's face it, the hypocrisy, the stench of hypocrisy around these globalist Hollywood types is out of control. They travel with armed guards. They live behind gated communities and high walls. We have nothing against people of color. We have nothing against people from foreign countries. My wife's an immigrant. Donald Trump's wife is an immigrant. But there's a legal way to come to America, and anyone who denies that those who are coming here illegally are bringing drugs and crime and disease is ignoring the statistics and the facts. Donald Trump's trying to protect the country. This isn't about bashing anybody. It's about having an orderly system and legal system of immigration as opposed to letting criminal mobs just invade the country at will. Barriers
are part of territorialism, part of security, part of privacy in any civilization. We all have front doors for a reason. We all have screens on the windows for a reason. That's why we have locks on our core doors. Everyone gets this. And I just can't believe the mantra of your white supremacist, that's what they're talking about the Democrats, by Nancy Pelosi and Cortez, is that the wall is a monument to white supremacy. No, I think it's a wall to sovereignty and survival.
Well, Donald Trump has said it dozens and dozens of times. If you don't have borders, you don't have a country. And I'm very proud of the way he's hung tough on this in the face of mountain of vituperation and just a tsunami of hate directed at his attention when all he's trying to do is to protect the American people from rising crime, an epidemic of drugs, and disease.
Well, Roger, stay right there, because I said we don't do one segment. You've got to go. But I want to do a few more minutes on the side because we didn't get into Mueller and breaking into your trash can, all the latest, his final report, supposedly coming out next month, how desperate he is. And then I also want to play that clip, as I mentioned it, of MSNBC reporter, AP reporter on MSNBC saying there is no caravan. I mean, this is insane. And then more on two black dudes now admit they shot the poor little black girl, and the white folks are still getting blamed. You can see the vanguard of thousands of illegal aliens from Central and South America trying to break over the Mexico-San Diego border. This is still ongoing. This is from a few weeks ago. There's more footage of it happening at night just last weekend, as everybody knows. But according to MSNBC guest, AP White House reporter claims migrant caravan never reached the U.S. border. She's trying to get the job from Jim Acosta for Biggest Liar. He says it doesn't exist. Remember when he grabs the microphone back and then they said that was fake footage we put out. Texas Monthly gave me the Bum Steer Award. I'm on the cover of the magazine for putting out a fake video. Any moron can see we just zoomed in. I'm telling you, these people are next level. The caravans are real. Bigger ones are coming. The UN is sponsoring them. And then they have the nerve to say it doesn't exist. Here she is.
On the back and forth on where he wanted the wall and whether the wall would be in California. And what I heard from the White House press secretary this morning, communications director Sarah Sanders, press secretary, was a lot of fear-mongering. Sarah Sanders saying this morning 4,000 terrorists are apprehended at the border every day. That's not true. Jacob Soboroff will fact-check that for us in a moment. But the president also talking about smugglers and talking about all the crime that pours in on the border. Is this just all about making it seem like there is a crisis? Is that their strategy? It
certainly seemed, I mean, certainly the president's remarks right there, rambling as they were delivered like a campaign speech. There wasn't like an update to reporters about legislation. It was the same rhetoric we've often heard about him discussing how this threat that exists at the border, couched in the same sort of dangerous terms we heard about that caravan, which of course never did arrive at the southern border of the United States. That this still feels for the president, it's a base play. It's an attempt to be strong for the people who have supported him, that he feels like he can't give them up.
That's Jonathan Lermy, AP reporter, and then Katie Turd, that's actually her name, T-U-R-D. These people, would you change your name? Her name was Katie. Okay, that's fake news. Her name's Katie Turd. But, I mean, what an incredible liar. You got 200,000 dead in Mexico, hundreds of thousands they can't find, mass graves everywhere. Venezuela, they ate their dogs and cats 3 years ago, 1,000 starving to death a day, total war all over the place, society collapsing, even the few safe zones breaking down like Cancun. And they're up there saying it doesn't exist. So, again, what do you make of this, Roger, where they go next level? When are we going to hit peak lying? And as a political strategist, I know you to tell the truth or I wouldn't work with you. They always call you a dirty trickster, and you kind of play along with it. I guess you want the mystique so the ladies think that's cool. But I actually know you to be a straight shooter and not even want to fudge anything, which is good because that's how you lose credibility. They point at you and me and call us fake news, and these people are literally out there with their butt hanging out saying that the sky isn't blue. What is this tactic, or is this just desperation, or what is this?
No, unfortunately, it's a two-part strategy, Alex. They have, access to the airwaves, access to the internet, and they spin their lies in an outrageous campaign of propaganda and distortion. At the same time, they're trying to silence us. They want to take InfoWars off the internet. They want to take us off the social media platforms. It's not just us. It's hundreds of thousands of individual, if not millions, individual conservatives, libertarians, Trump supporters. And let there be no mistake about it. If they take me down, if they take you down, if they take InfoWars down, Tucker Carlson's right behind us. So is Sean Hannity. They're already trying to take Mike Savage down. Rush Limbaugh, Laura Ingraham, all the people I love, all the people who are telling the truth, they're all targeted. So they have a better chance of spinning their lies if they can silence us. So it's a two-part strategy, and it's insidious. They really want to grab control of the political narrative, which they lost control of in 2016.
I learned about this at about 6 o'clock this morning, and then I reached out and was told, hey, you know, we're trying to work it out with Twitter. We think it was a Southern Poverty Law Center operative or something, which literally took down Franklin Graham off Facebook, and they had to take it back. They said for dehumanization. Ali Alexander was threatened by a Marxist, said, I'm going to come kill you. He said, well, be ready for the ambulance. Twitter suspended at Ali Alexander, who's a political strategist and a great guy. Jack Posobiec tweeted it. I was asked not to talk about it because they want to try to fix it behind the scenes, but now that it's broken, I'm going to go ahead and cover it. Ali Alexander, permanently banned on Twitter, Roger.
Look, they banned me a year ago, more than a year ago. I had 450,000 followers because I hurt Jake Tapper's delicate feelings. Their rules are elastic. They only apply for conservatives, libertarians, info warriors. When they advocate violence or when they advocate pedophilia, as Mindy Robinson has exposed right here on the Alex Jones show, that's no problem at all. Those people don't get banned. The people with a little blue check mark who spew hate, who advocate violence, they're untouched. But if you are a conservative, they will invent reasons to censor you and take you off the platform.
Well, I love how they left the guy up that said, I'm going to come kill you. And then you're like, okay, well, get ready. You're going to be leaving in an ambulance. That's a normal response. But see, that's the ultimate crime to a leftist, is to say, I will defend myself against you.
Yeah, no, it's obvious that it is very contrived. The president needs to direct his Department of Justice to undertake antitrust action immediately against these social media giants. His prospects for re-election, the prospects for the passage of the rest of his reform agenda, his re-election, even his legacy, all dependent on access to a free, vibrant, robust, unfettered internet.
Isn't it good news that Louis Gohmert, and I want to shift gears briefly into the Mueller, let you get back to the reporters you've got there on this very subject, internet censorship. Gohmert said to Sundar Pichai, I know you're lying, and we're going to strip your immunity under Section 230 away. You are censoring. And now we have all these new internal Google emails from high-level folks admitting it, and then they're publicly in news. Vice presidents admitting that they're putting down searches that are negative for Democrats. I mean, this is I've never seen such naked lying.
Well, in fact, it's a perfect segue because Adam Schiff and the House Democrats want Robert Mueller to prosecute me for perjury when I sat there with you and we watched Senator Pai under oath tell you lie after lie after lie. China? I couldn't even find it on a map, he said. We're not working in China. Oh, no, we're not tracking anybody. There's no effort to disadvantage conservatives or Republicans in our Google search. I mean, this guy perjured himself repeatedly, and he will pay no penalty whatsoever. Meanwhile, Swalwell and Mueller and the boys are trying to invent perjury on my case where none exists. I told the truth before the House Intelligence Committee. I went voluntarily. I was there for 4.5 hours. Everything I said was true.
And that brings us to the final point. It's all over the news that they're getting in your trash. Somebody gets in the trash at my house. Neighbors have seen it. We've caught it on video. They're breaking into your trash. This means Mueller is really, really desperate. You think they're going to try to cook up a perjury trap on you, or what do you think?
Well, I think it's going to be very hard because I've had some of the best attorneys in the country look at my testimony, and they just don't see it. To the extent that I made errors, they would be errors in my favor, meaning I did forget that I had exculpatory text messages in an old cell phone that proved definitively that Randy Credico was my source regarding the significance in the October release.
Exactly. So you found evidence backing up what you said. You can't be, in fact, you have such a great memory on all this, it blows me away. I have a great memory. I can't remember half this stuff. But Roger, regardless, Mueller, it looks like, is going to come up completely empty because there's nothing there. Or will they try to use Corsi, completely discredited, to then bear false witness?
Well, that was, I think, their plan. Their plan appears to have fallen apart when he refused to plead to one count of giving me emails that he never gave me. But, Alex, for those who say this is wrapping up, I point out that the judge just extended the grand jury for Mr. Mueller by another 6 months. So you wonder whether it's ever going to wrap up, and you wonder whether Mr. Mueller is focused on Donald Trump Jr., Jared Kushner, myself. Who knows? I mean, it is exactly as the president said, a witch hunt. And a whole new round of House Intelligence Committee means more giant legal bills for me. I mean, I lost my health and life insurance in December because I couldn't pay the premiums.
No, I understand. And then they lie and say you're worth. They do the same thing. They lie and say you're worth $10 million. They say net worth. They just put up a fake number on the internet, and then no one supports you because they think you got all this money. Roger doesn't want to get into details here, but he lost his house, and he don't want to make him happy. But just tell him, Roger, they've almost bankrupted you. You've lost all your lobbying clients. They're running you into the ground.
That's the whole plan. They try to weaken you so you don't have the resources to fight. And then, like Mike Flynn, you're forced to plead guilty to something you didn't do. People can go to stonedefensefund.com and help me. You've been an enormous help, Alex. So is everyone at InfoWars. I am fighting for my life. They try to crush you financially. No, I'm not worth $20 million or $10 million or $1 million. That's all fake news on the internet.
Believe me, the stuff they say about me is pure crap. I mean, yeah, you could technically say all the equipment, all the everything is, worth. You could say intellectual property could be extended out to be worth $10 million. There isn't $10 million sitting there in a bank. But they say that so we don't get support. But the listeners understand it's not true. They stand with us. InfoWarsStore.com. We need your support as well there. We'll be right back. Thank you, Roger.
Owen Schroyer here for Infowars.com, and I want to tell you guys about a great product that we have, and it is the Knockout Sleep Aid Formula. Now, I've got my Knockout right here, and we're going to take it, and we're going to look at the actual results of the Knockout Sleep Formula in real time. So let me take my Knockout first. But while we're waiting to see the effects of the Knockout, I've got some very, very, very important news that I want to get to.
InfoWars Life wants to bring you a sleep support formula that goes above and beyond other leading brands at an affordable price. Get the sleep you deserve and experience the power of Knockout. Head on over to InfoWarsLife.com and say goodbye to fatigue. That's InfoWarsLife.com.